He gave me a breakup note at my birthday party in front of all our friends and family while I was standing there with a hand over my stomach, ready to announce that I was pregnant with his child. And as the words on that tiny paper settled in and everyone's laughter echoed around me like a cruel joke, I just stood there, smiling politely, clutching the piece of paper with shaking fingers. Because what none of them knew, not even him, was that I already had a plan, and he had just handed me the perfect excuse to start executing it. You see, this wasn't just a breakup hit, was an ambush. The party was mine in name only. The decorations were chosen by his sister, the cake ordered by his mother, and the entire guest list stacked with people who sided with him in every petty argument we'd ever had. Looking back, I should have seen the signs. He was always a little too quiet when I talked about starting a family, a little too distracted during appointments, a little too eager to cancel plans that involved my side of the family. But love, real love, or what I thought was love, can blind you. That day, I had rehearsed my announcement for hours. Practiced the gentle way I'd share the news, thinking that maybe, just maybe, he'd smile and say, "I'm ready." Instead, he handed me that note like it was a gift, as if dumping me at my own celebration was a flex, a punchline for a joke I didn't know I was the target of. Everyone laughed, maybe because they thought it was staged, or maybe because they truly didn't care how humiliating it was for me. My best friend turned away awkwardly. His mother whispered something to her husband and giggled. And him. He walked away to pour himself a drink like nothing had happened. But while they laughed, I smiled. Because I had something none of them knew about. I had leveraged life growing inside me, and I had already begun documenting everything. The emotional manipulation, the gaslighting, the odd behavior with his co-worker Claire, the very same Claire he'd later be caught kissing outside a bar. And you know what the wildest part is? I didn't even cry. Not that night, not the next day. Instead, I went home, laid a hand over my belly, and whispered to my unborn child, "We've got work to do." I started by quietly leaving our shared apartment, moving into a place I had secretly rented the month prior, after noticing how distant and cruel he had become. I cut off access to our shared accounts, filed a legal separation agreement, and contacted an attorney who specialized in parental rights and documentation. I wasn't going to fight him, I was going to bury him in a wall of undeniable truth. While he posted selfies with Claire on some beach trip he said he couldn't afford to take with me, I filed for sole custody with evidence that painted the full picture of emotional abandonment and instability. 2 months passed. I never contacted him once. No angry texts, no sobbing voicemails, nothing. Just silence. And that's when he showed up. At 2 a.m., soaked in rain, sobbing outside my door, screaming into the dark. I messed up. Please let me in. But I didn't. I watched through the peephole, my hands still resting on the curve of my stomach. My baby was kicking for the first time that night, as if she, too, could feel the satisfaction of a man realizing far too late that he had lost everything. He cried for hours until he fell asleep on the steps. I never opened the door. Days later, he sent me a letter and apology filled with cliches, promising change, offering money, begging to be part of the baby's life. But by then, I had receipts, legal filings, and a protective circle of people who had rallied around me once I shared the truth. It turns out, when you stop hiding your pain, others step up. My ex-best friend came clean and told me she knew about Claire months ago, but was scared to tell me. His coworker, Claire. She dumped him after learning I was pregnant. She didn't want that baggage. And his family, the ones who laughed with him at my party. Well, they were furious when they found out he abandoned his pregnant girlfriend, and they tried to reach out too late. I wasn't interested in reconciliation. I was building a life. I finished setting up the nursery. I launched my freelance business. And when the baby came on a quiet Tuesday afternoon in spring, I cried. Not because I was sad, but because I had finally done something entirely for myself. My daughter came into the world surrounded by peace, not betrayal. And when the hospital nurse asked if the father would be arriving, I simply said, no. He already said goodbye. The media. They got wind of the story through a viral post. Pregnant woman dumped by boyfriend at birthday party plans the ultimate comeback. Yeah, that was me. It exploded online. I didn't ask for the attention, but when it came, I used it. I started a blog for single moms, sharing my story. Sponsors came, deals came, book offers came. And suddenly, I was no longer just a girl who got dumped. I was a voice, a leader, a woman who refused to break. He sent letters, more of them. He even showed up at one of my book signings with a ring. Yes, a ring. As if a diamond could erase what he did. But I looked him dead in the eyes and said, "This chapter isn't yours to rewrite." And I walked away. My daughter is 3 now. She has never met her biological father, and she never asks about him because she is surrounded by people who love her fiercely. Her uncles, her aunties, my parents, and me. I still have that breakup note. It's framed on my office wall not because I'm bitter, but because it reminds me of the exact moment I reclaimed my life. Funny, right? He thought that note would break me. Instead, it built me. So to anyone listening, if someone tries to humiliate you in front of a crowd, tries to turn your pain into their punchline, just remember, sometimes the greatest revenge is survival. So tell me, if you were me and your ex came back begging for forgiveness after leaving you pregnant and humiliated, would you open the door or walk away forever?